Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Today I Learned Turning. We're going to show you how to make a lidded box. Right now I got a little tool, like $7, but if it's not square, you can go ahead and go on each corner and then scribe a line, and it'll leave a little opening in the middle, and the right dead center is your dead center. I'll just go ahead and put it between centers, and now we're going to go ahead and round her out. I'm just using a smaller spindle roughing gouge. The point here, I was watching a professional turner, and I was watching him use his spindle gouge, and he had a really acute angle on his compared to mine, and I was like, man, and he was taking off stock with these beautiful shavings. And I tried it, and I don't think I'll ever go back. It was just kind of hard to get adjusted to, but once you do it, the shavings fly. Right now I'm marking tenons for the chuck. And I use a 16th inch parting tool and a square scraper. I'm going to go ahead and take and put the chuck back on. And then we'll go ahead and chuck up the blank. I put the blank in there and bring the tailstock up, and I slowly tighten it with it at center and then tighten the chuck so it'll be pretty true. I just take a couple passes to make sure. Now I'm going to make 3 boxes out of here, and I'm going ahead to mark the top where I'm going to part it and then the tenon. So I'll show you again. This is going to be the top. Parting off tenon. So that big spot in the middle with 3 cut marks, that'll be 2 tenons, and I'll part it off dead center. And I will show you that in a moment. Right here I used a 3/8 spindle gouge to see if it worked better, and I just went ahead and went to a parting tool to flatten it out. Worked a whole lot better. Less chance of getting a catch too. Okay, here's where we're gonna part it off. Well, I'm gonna cut it and part it from majority of the way, then cut it off. When I'm using a 16th inch tool, I make an initial cut, then I come back and I take probably about another 30-second off, just to give yourself some room so it doesn't burn the entire way. Now I'm just cutting off all my blanks. Each one of those will become a little lidded box. Here's one chucked up, and I'm gonna go ahead and part the lid off right away. And I work with the lid first, and that's the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and chuck that up. And we are going to flatten the face first, and then establish our tenons on the outside. I usually use another parting tool, 16th inch, and I just eyeball it and push in probably 1/8 of an inch, and then I hollow it out. I don't really drill it out. It leaves a little more strength when you kind of leave it domed. So I just keep going until I get to the depth that I want, knowing that I'm going to be taking more material off the outside, so I keep that in mind not to get it too thin. That was a shear scraper, and right before that was a spindle gouge. It looks good to me, and it was pretty nice off the tool, so I started out with about 220, and then I'll with the finish I'm going to put on the inside, I'll work it up to about 800 grit. But it looked real nice, so it only took me a minute. The tools are temporarily in that bucket. Trying to find another solution. So the finish I'm going to use is Aussie oil. It's a friction polish, but it leaves a really beautiful shine. And less is more with this. You just put a little bit on and make sure it covers the surface, and use the same wet portion of the rag, and you put some pressure on there and crank the lathe up, and then it leaves a really nice polish on the inside. You do 2 or 3 coats. A lot of y'all have seen me use shallow wax. This is made by the same company. It just doesn't have as much protection as shallow wax does. So I'm happy with the top. This is the bottom. This is where the tricky part comes. You can always fix it, but your box will be a little bit shorter every time. So I kinda see how big my tenon is, and I'll part off on the side, and then I use a skew here, but I'll slowly take off material until that top fits snug. So there's a lot of little trial and error. It's got to be pretty square too, or else your top won't sit correctly. So just a little bit at a time there. We got it. And now I'm making a spot to hollow out. So I took a parting tool, went about an eighth or so from the edge, and started hollowing. This part's a little deeper than the lid. This is just the 3/8 spindle gouge I'm using. Same process as the lid. We're going to finish the inside. We are not going to finish the outsides of these boxes because they are going to have another kind of finish on there, and I will do that at a later date. But as you can see, it doesn't really take too many tools to make these, and they're relatively easy, so any of you guys can make them. And you don't need a giant lathe. There we go. Now it fits. We put it on there, make sure it's on real tight, because we are going to turn the lid, and I've had them pop off, so you want to get it nice and snug. And now I'm just rounding the lid out. And if the lid fits but it's too loose, you take a piece of paper towel and shove it in there, and then jam it in and take the remainder of the paper towel off on the outside and then turn it. It takes a little bit of effort to get it out sometimes, but you'll be able to save it. It's just me sanding them both together, because as soon as you pull these apart, they'll be grain matched and feel like one solid piece. So it's looking pretty good. And I'm going to make a parting off mark here, because I'm going to take it off the lathe but leave the tenon on so I can chuck it up later. I just chamfered the corner there so when I go back I won't tear it up. But that's about it. I had to show you guys what we got, but I really appreciate you all watching, and please check out my other videos. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my Twitch channel, and please like and subscribe. Take care.